Ow. Come on, man. That's my ears.
Ani, let go!
All right, you two. Sit down, shut up, and behave. I know it's 5:30 in the morning. I know you're tired. And I know you're probably high.
I told you, man. I don't do weed.
Shush. We are nearing the end of the stories. Lyrilyn spent all week planning this. Rowan brought these stories for us. And you two are not ruining it. You guys can behave for 1 more hour around a campfire with s'mores, chocolate, and chips. Right?
Well...
Right? Good. Now, Lyrilyn, here's your cider. Where were we?
What's that?
Ani hates fighting. Don't let her intensity fool you. She does actually give a shit.
Huh. Got it.
So, the end of that last story, Bartholomew Hughes, we had confusion around his death, right?
Oh, yeah. And what was that other part? That, right. Where I was being right.
And Ani probably being right. So, what's next?
Wait, what was that about there being confusion about Hughes dying?
Okay, maybe if you had been listening instead of fighting with Jean, you would know.
There was, like, a bit at the end that made it seem like maybe Hughes was alive and trying to rebuild himself or something. It was really unclear and honestly kind of hard to explain. It was in the last couple of paragraphs in the previous story. If you want, you can go read it and catch up.
Yeah, okay. Can you pass that over so I can read that bit? Rowan, how many stories do we have left anyway?
We're down to the last 2. This one is called Blood, Brain. We're returning to the story of Adam Wheeler and his journey to Site 41.
Ooh, spooky.
Just a warning. Things are going to get really intense from here on out. Think you're up for it?
I mean, we're in this far by now. We might as well see it through.
I mean, yeah, I'm with Ani here. We've read a lot for one campfire night. It's 5:30 a.m. I'm exhausted. Yeah, let's finish it.
All right, then let's begin. There is no day-night cycle. Something like a week into his trek, Wheeler realizes that he can perform an experiment. He selects a building with a high enough ceiling to sleep in, a library. Before turning in, he sets up a Foucault pendulum. He suspends a heavy rock by a wire from the ceiling and sets it swinging. The following morning, the slow pendulum is still swinging. It is precessed. It's swinging at a right angle from the mark he made before he went to sleep. That means the world is still spinning. On reflection, he doesn't know if it proves anything. It's not clear whether the sun or the moon still exists, or any celestial object at all other than the red-black eye sockets at the horizon. The eye never moves. It casts long, threatening shadows, while being bright enough to blind Wheeler whenever he has to walk in that approximate direction, which is about half the time. Regardless of the physical evidence, it doesn't feel as if he's walking on a real Earth, or fully awake. He feels like an ant, crawling across the face of a rough-hewn monolith, crawling into an apocalyptic mythology. He has migraines, and there are blotchy, multicolored zigzags in his vision by the end of most days. He feels as if the whole world is perpetually dropping away from beneath his feet, like he and it are both plummeting into an abyss. He has not been caught yet. The violent phenomena Ulrich warned him about have not appeared, which makes him feel increasingly lucky and nervous. He carries a looted gun, which he's practiced with a little. He's a better shot than he would have guessed, using his right hand alone. His left hand, the mangled one, does nothing but shake. He has to keep it clutched to his chest when shooting. The gun gives him less reassurance than he'd like. It feels as if, were he to end up in a situation, it could metamorph suddenly from a working firearm into a fiddly, metallic liability, an explosive distraction in his pocket. On occasion, on the horizon, he sees a skyscraper-sized figure stalking past. He holds still, or hides, and it doesn't see him. Other than that, the world is seemingly deserted, standing empty, like an overturned car in a muddy ditch. Open doors, lights still blinking. Wheeler feels detached, lucky, guilty. He keeps away from cities. He has not yet come within eyeshot of a sarcophagus. Ulrich was evasive in his describing them, and has advised him in the strongest possible terms to stay away from them. But on another night, he selects a bad place to camp, where the wind and the local geography funnel the noise from one of the sarcophagi up to him from the valley. The noise, despite its faintness and distance, cultivates such an intense and intolerable nightmares that he has to get up, pack, again, and walk further away, as many more miles as it takes. The noise creates, in him, things which he dearly wants not to be flashbacks. He goes into a shop and, along with packaged food and bottled water, steals a cheap digital wristwatch. It has a date function. Today is March 17th of April. It's just gone lunchtime. Time is still passing. On some level, all is functional. It's happening. And if it's really happening, then what? There's no longer any ambiguity about what specifically is happening, not in Wheeler's mind or anyone else's. The world has long since passed through SCP-3125's antimemetic boundary layer and into its radioactive core. There is no longer a need for SCP-3125 to pretend that it is not what it plainly is. What else could it be? What difference could it make now? What could oppose it? It stands there in plain sight. Wheeler sees it. All of conscious reality sees it. It's happening everywhere, to everyone. It's not physically possible to conceive of anything else. There is no worst-case scenario than what is happening now. There's no race against time. There's no ticking clock. There's no last second. The last second was years ago. There's nothing to avert. This is it. The final game position. The highest and most refined form of human civilization. This is the shape of the next million years. SCP-3125 stands there, monstrous, casual, and indifferent. And Wheeler is alone, with his thoughts for a long period of time. And he has little else to think about. And he wrinkles his brow, and he blinks a long blink. And looks again, and he realizes what it was that he wasn't seeing. SCP-3125 is standing there, like a human stands. He reaches Site 41 at the beginning of May. His body clock has wandered far out of skew by this point. It's technically around midnight when he first lays eyes on the place. There is protective fields surrounding it, stamped into reality by the detonation of the antimemetic warhead, radiating out a few hundred meters beyond the site's perimeter. It's a psychological repulsion, not a physical one. A thick bulwark of irrelevance. There's nothing here. Just keep walking. Despite being warned about it, Wheeler succumbs to the effect. 30 minutes walk down the road, he double-checks his map and realizes what's happening, and turns back. This happens a second time. On the third attempt, he makes it through, dead of reckoning and willpower. For some reason, he had been imagining an ancient, dramatically overgrown ruin. But the containment breach which led to the site's destruction happened only 18 months ago. And the bomb's blast, which concluded the outbreak, was figurative, not physical. About a third of Site 41's main building had been torn down, but the rest is perfectly intact and unmarred. Mother Nature has not reclaimed it. Gnarled trees are not sprouting from the damaged site. Wheeler exhales. There's a still, safe atmosphere about the place. It's as if Site 41 has its own cool microclimate. It's easier to think. Even the light here is fractionally yellower. More natural. The site's main entrance is sealed with steel doors, but Wheeler circles around the damaged site of the building and is able to effectively enter through the rubble. He moves into a medium-slow pace. He can't afford to blunder into anything, but if he goes too slowly, he knows, he'll overthink the situation and become scared, and have to retreat all the way out of the building. The late Daisy Ehrlich promised him that the site was safe. She then went to rather disconcerting lengths to explain precisely what safe meant. No entities in need of active dynamic containment procedures. A safe SCP can be left in the dark, locked room indefinitely with no risk, she explained.
A nuclear bomb is safe, for example.
Well, up to a point. The site is safe. Most dangerous things I'm going to find are rats and...
He jumps back, aiming his flashlight at a frightening shape. Corpses. The corpse is seated against the corridor wall. It's clutching a combat knife, which it seems to have buried to the hilt in its own inner thigh, opening a gushing artery. Wheeler backs up against the wall, unable to look closely at the body, but equally unable to let it out of his eyesight, in case it does something. He feels faint. It doesn't help that at this exact moment, the fluorescent lights in the corridor come up, triggered by his movement, giving him a much better look at the scene. The scene is about as bloody as any suicide can be.
No thank you.
He backs up all the way into the corner and through the room into the virulent red place which passes for daylight. And there he throws up. It takes a long time to talk himself back into it. He finds many more bodies. Some of them are dismembered or just scattered pieces. Some of them appear to have been dead for significantly longer than the rest. They are little more than wafer-thin skin wrapped around skeletons, and there are strange things written on the walls beside them. Wheeler never works without why. There's still power. There's running water. At first, nearly every door he meets is locked, but he steels his nerves and returns to each of the dead foundations in turn and retrieves their keys and security passes. Soon, he has the run of the place, with only a few highly secure control rooms and containment units denied him. At this point, his task has become open-ended. If Hughes is not somewhere on Site-41, which he almost certainly isn't, Wheeler needs to find information leading to his true location. He needs data. He collects devices, phones and laptops and computer terminals, Foundation built with chunky form factors. Most of them need passwords or pins, which he can't get, but a few can be unlocked using security passes or biometrics, which he can get if he carries the device back to the relevant corpse and presents their face or finger to the scanner. Devices still have power too. Wheeler is unable to find anything resembling a battery readout on any of them. He is slowly learning a key lesson. The Foundation builds things to endure. And though the Foundation as a group of people is absent, the physical systems they built are still here, and functioning, and ready. The SCP database is the most obvious icon on every device's home screen. Ulrich told him to look out for the particular sigil, concentric circles with 3 inward-pointing arrows. Inevitably, like an uncounted number of newcomer Foundations before him, Wheeler loses a significant number of hours browsing these entries. The Foundation has a specific and recognizable house style, which is to describe even the most mind-boggling weird anomalies in absolutely mundane, factual terms. Even heavily redacted, different users see different amounts of redaction, but there is plenty of data which he can't access no matter whose identity he uses. It makes for bizarrely compelling reading. Hughes is mentioned numerous times in the database. He seems to have multiple overlapping research specialties, and is credited in many entries as containment architect. Wheeler takes detailed notes, assembling a picture of the man's career progression, and then randomly stumbles into the Foundation's own personnel records for Hughes, which line up almost exactly with what he just worked out. There are huge holes in the personnel record, the last entry relating to Hughes' actual activities in 2007. And then in 2010, after a gap of years, there's a final note, a single, unauthored sentence. It appears that those who know Hughes' fate meet it. End of file. Wheeler frowns at the unhelpful note for a long minute. It reads like a riddle. Wheeler was, for a long time, a crossword puzzle fiend, but it seems improbable to him that a clandestine organization like the Foundation would leave a cryptic clue for one another, rather than a clear, direct instruction. Which means the note is probably intended to read simply and literally, "Do not look for Hughes unless you want to meet the same fate." Wheeler tilts his chair back and stares at the ceiling, contemplatively. On the other hand, the note also means Hughes can be found. It's been done. There's no day-night cycle, but he is worn out. His body is telling him that he needs to sleep. He sleeps on a sofa in the employee break room on the far side of the building from the Red Eye. There's a snack machine, and there are snacks in the machine, but he doesn't have any cash. He considers breaking the glass, but if he screws it up and cuts himself badly there isn't a single doctor left in the whole world who could stitch him up. He considers, and rules out, looting the nearest corpse for $1. He tries to sleep. Something comes to him, an acute, anxious energy. It grips him by the shoulder. "Get up," it screams at him, distantly. "You cannot rest. Do the arithmetic. It is all still happening. Move!" He rolls over and ignores it. And it bothers him, intellectually, that he can't ignore it. He wonders if there is some vital organ missing from his body. He should be quivering with anger and terror now, yes? Why, in his heart, is he so calm? He looks at SCP-3125, whose very existence, on paper, should paralyze him with fear. He looks at what SCP-3125 is doing, which should fill every fiber of his being with furious purpose. And he looks at his own significance to the whole endeavor, and his own guesstimate of the odds. He does the arithmetic, and the product of all those factors rounds down to a damn near 0. This isn't going to work. That's why. This has to stop. It has to end. Please! Near the entrance site, he can't figure out how to unlock the steel doors, even though from the side he finds a security office with printed floor plans of the whole site. He crosses off the rooms he's visited and the rooms which are destroyed. Everything remaining is locked. Above ground, anyways. Underground, there are warrens of tunnels and dozen more containment units. And 30 floors below ground, a single, incredibly large vault of unstated purpose. This final vault draws his attention in magnetically. Ulrich assured him the site was totally safe. As the freight elevator descends, Wheeler finds the kind of anxious pressure is building right above him. The air is rapidly getting warmer, and he just realized that if the elevator breaks down right now, he'll likely be helplessly trapped and die. He shouldn't have used it. He should have used the emergency stairs. Too late. The elevator lands. There's an empty corridor. He follows it, drawn forward. There's an airlock at the far end, a wall of white metal big enough to drive a truck through. The airlock is closed, but there are 7 or 8 overlapping circular holes punched through it, making a combined gap which is easily big enough to admit a human. Beyond the airlock, there's a vast, dark space. Wheeler has climbed through the hole and walked 5 paces out into the darkness before he even thinks about what he's doing. There are shapes out there, illuminated by the scant light falling from the airlock corridor. Lumps which could be more dead people. Wheeler's own shadow blocks much of the light. He takes out his torch. It's absolutely silent down there, and the temperature is uncomfortable, making him sweat. The rest of the huge vault, as far as he shines his light, is totally empty, but his torch is not powerful enough to illuminate a space this big, so it's hard to be certain. He advances. A loud tone is building in his ears as he gets closer. There are, he counts, 14 dead. 13 of them dead in a rough circle around a 14th, a woman lying flat on her back. Just outside of the circle, there is a military truck with the inert remains of a complex machine mounted on its back. This, Wheeler surmises, is the antimemetic warhead. There is a cable leading down to a control unit lying on the floor, under the hand of the dead woman.
So you're the one.
Her security pass looks different from the others. It has a bright diagonal stripe across it in red and orange. He takes it. There's a roaring in his skull. He can't see it clearly at first. Something is disturbing his vision. A gold-white spot in the corner of his eye, an artifact from the combination of extreme darkness and bright torchlight. He squints. It says, Marion Wheeler, Site Director. He stares at it for a long time, weirdly disoriented. He doesn't know exactly why. It is, of course, a very commonplace name. If he stopped to gawp at every other Wheeler he met, he would never get anything done. Still, she's the one with her hand on the switch. She's the one who ended this local outbreak. Out of every dead Foundationer on this damned site, she's the one who didn't die for no reason at all. He feels as if he should say a few words, but they don't come to him. He makes one quick circuit around the vault perimeter, scanning the floor and the wall, looking for anything interesting and finding nothing but construction tools and scaffolding. He returns to the airlock and then the freight elevator. He glares at it for a long, frustrated moment, and then accepts that it would be unsafe to use it again. The emergency stairwell is perfectly well lit, but 30 floors is a mountain. 3 times on the way up, he had to stop to rest his knees. The site director's pass gets him everything. Every control room, every containment unit, every file. He gets the whole story. He puts the last piece in place. He leaves a note, following the same hopeless, diligent ritual as the rest of the Antimemetic division before him. He emerges from SCP-3125's inverted containment unit with extremely clear written instructions from himself to himself. He knows exactly where he needs to go. As he moves down the forest road, away from the site, he reaches and crosses the edge of the Antimemetic crater. He squares his shoulders, re-entering the presence of SCP-3125. He stops walking. He squints into the intense light ahead of him, shielding his eyes. He can just about make out a figure standing there. The trees on each side of them rustle and move. They're too tall. Spider scrapers. A wave of dread hits Wheeler, followed closely by one burst of relief. This is it.
Why can't I track? You're so weak. It's like you don't even exist. I just wasted 2 days trying to pick you up. What's wrong with you?
Wheeler says nothing. The man is closer. He didn't walk, but the distance between them halves. And his voice is easier to hear, though he is still too bright to look at. His body structure blurs and flickers.
You're not one of them, and you're not one of us. And you're definitely not the hero. You don't count for shit remotely. Why are you wasting your time on this? Whatever the fuck this is, you should just kill yourself. It's not going to work.
Wheeler knows that. The light collapses. The figure smashes into focus, becoming physical. It's a real human. A skinny 20-something, scruffy, uncut hair, and a sketchy beard. He is shirtless, and there's a deep, black pit in his clavicle. A hole where he has clearly been very badly wounded. Blood has run down his chest, soaked his jeans and forearms and dried black. Fresh blood is still coming, building up in thick layers, which shouldn't be possible. Wheeler doesn't spot the second hole in his gut, obscured by too much blood. Wheeler tries to keep his expression neutral, but he knows it isn't working. He can feel his left hand, his bad hand, starting to shake. A part of him still wants to ask the guy why, but there is no possible answer. The man spreads his hands to gesture at the world.
This is what the human race really is. We lied to ourselves that we could be better for thousands of years, but this is it. This is what we've always been. We've never been anything else.
That's...
Wheeler stops, suddenly remembering something. He claps his left hand to his chest, draws with his right, and shoots. It's a good shot. It's a lucky shot. It takes the man directly in the eyeball and blows out the back of his skull. He falls, twisting as he falls, landing on his broken face. Wheeler gasps, remembering to breathe. He almost drops his gun. He gets a tighter grip on it, keeping it aimed at the blasted ruin of the man's head. He wants to throw up. He controls himself. In through the mouth, out through the nose. He's okay.
Let him talk for too long.
He pulls out a Foundation brick phone from his pack. He pushes some buttons, entering coordinates, and then retreats far down the road. He retains visual contact with the dead man for as long as possible, then turns away and kneels, placing the phone on the road beside him. Following the detailed instructions he found in the control room, he grinds his palms into his eyes and presses his face against the ground.
Ilone Zenore. Fire.
The orbital laser strike comes diagonally. It lasts for a split second, and is easily bright enough in the visible spectrum to have instantly blinded him if he were looking. When Wheeler returns to the scene, there is no body left, just a scorched ellipse of asphalt.
I was going to say something along the lines of, "That's a lie, that's what you are, you're the lie," but,
He looks up. The atmosphere isn't changing. The sky isn't returning to blue. There's still that heinous pressure. SCP-3125 remains the dominant force in this universe. But as he turns, hearing movement in the forest all around him, he realizes that immense spider forms, he'd sincerely forgotten about them, they were all standing there so quietly, are dispersing.
Hold on, roll that back. Did Adam shoot it?
Yep,
And it did nothing.
yep,
Then he used a orbital laser on it,
yep,
and that killed it.
probably.
And this is all supposedly real? Like, things that happen? This isn't fiction, right?
In the same way the other stories from the library are real. Yes, it's obviously more complicated than a simple yes or no, but you know this.
I guess. So, last story?
Last story, but I think...
Oh my god, he saw Marion's corpse! Oh, that is so sad. I honestly don't know if it's better or worse that he can't remember who she is to him. Huh? Jean?
Hey, it'll be alright, Catholic. We still got, like, was and carry the two. One story left, right? You got this, man. Just gotta keep pushing and ride through those waves into calm waters. Just one, right? Yeah. One left to go. I don't get the shoe again, right?
No, Jean. You don't get the shoe again.
Score.
That's still so sad for Adam, though. What the hell is he going to do?
Only one way to find out. You know what, Catalina? I think you should end this night for us.
Huh? Me?
You've been more invested than anyone else in the story of Adam. It only feels right that you end us off.
See, man? I told you it would be okay.
That isn't... okay, no. Actually, fine. This is better. You're right.
2 in a row. That's a new record. Sweet.
Anyways, we only have like one bag of chips left. So, pass them around, tuck yourself in. This is gonna be good. And as we close, I want to give a special thank you to those in real life who made this episode possible. In particular, I would like to thank the many, many voice actors you heard in this episode, particularly Kit, who played the role of Ani, Esme, who played the role of Catalina, Peach, who played the role of Rowan, as well as being our narrator, John, who played the role of Jean and Adam Wheeler, Emily, who played the role of SCP-3125, and Taya, who played the role of Ulrich. For those curious, my name is Gaia. I am the producer of the show, as well as the voice for Lyrillin. As well, I would like to thank the author of the story we read today, that's QNTM, who wrote the story Blood Brain as part of the Antimemetics series. And finally, I would like to thank the composer of the music you heard in the background of this episode. His name is Kevin MacLeod, and he made this music and more. And you can listen to it all on incomptech.net. Just search up Kevin MacLeod or Incomptech online to find more. So, thank you all for listening, and have a good one.